Rashad Jennings
My man.
is here. Did you just my man me?
My man.
Did you my man me in the first part of the interview? He my manned me. He my manned me.
My guy then. How about that?
At least you didn't say, "What's up, boss?" And this is my friend. My friend, my man me.
That's it, man. You know what I mean?
My man. Denzel Tone.
Yeah.
My man.
So, on behalf of myself, DJ Felli, my good friend of 20 years, Vinny the freaking Rican, which, by the way, he is a huge, huge Rashad Jennings fan.
Absolutely.
Giants
baby.
fan.
Come on, for life.
And when he found out that you and I were friends, and I told him you were coming up for the podcast, he jumped out of his pants.
Yeah, I got it from
So
him.
a lot
Rashad,
people you can't see right now, but Vinny's not wearing pants. It's actually
right.
It's crazy. It was a little bit uncomfortable for us, but so first of all, we're sitting with a New York Times best-selling author.
Congrats. That's crazy.
Appreciate it.
And I guess my first question is, how did you? What got you to the point where you realized, man, I got such a crazy story, I got to write a book, and in this case, it's not necessarily about you. What I should have said is, my life's so crazy, I've been through so much, I have so much to offer, I'm going to write a book. What was that moment where you said, I need to write a book?
Yeah, so that actually came about. I've always wanted to write a book in college. I used to go to Barnes & Noble, post up, and actually go. This is how I used to read books. I would grab the book, I would read the title of every chapter, and then I put the book down.
Oh, wow.
And so me and some
So
of
you
my,
didn't read it?
Didn't actually read it. So me and some of my friends would actually then have to guess and actually think about what that chapter was about. Right, so then we just have a dialogue with each other and what it would discuss. Then we go read the book and see how close we were. So we looked at reading. It wasn't, I'm going to actually just go read. It
That's
was like a
interesting.
game. It was actually a game. And I said that I wanted to write a book with the title, The If in Life, because it's a play on words when you spell out the word life, if is in the middle.
Right.
And from there, that was a desire in college. And after all the stories and being able to accomplish a couple things along in life, and I feel like I look at life with a different type of filter, and I want to be able to share that with people and motivate them as much as I possibly can. So that was the desire to actually write the
What
book.
kind of, when you say a different kind of filter, like, give me an example from a football player standpoint, things you've been through as in your childhood.
Absolutely. So many different ways. From Forest, Virginia, a little small town. And that's self-explanatory. Forest, Virginia.
Yeah, hold the book up so everybody can. You guys.
Yeah, this is a kid series right here. This is Arcade and the Golden Travel Guide. And this little guy right here, it's about 60% of me. He's 60% of me. The other 40%, I don't know where he came from, but I had to artistically create a character. This is his sister Zoe, and he goes on through a bunch of different ventures, man. And I wrote this kind of skipping around a little bit, but the kids series, the passion behind it is one, growing up, I wanted to give some representation in the book world. I didn't see that many black kids
Right.
in my books that I read. I didn't see anybody that kind of looked similar to me or that I could relate to. So I wanted to write in such a way that kind of gives some diversity. But he comes across this beautiful golden token that was given to him by a mysterious librarian, and he learns what it's about. Have y'all ever seen the movie Click with Adam Sandler? He had the remote.
Yes.
Yeah,
Press
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a little,
Life.
It was like
Right.
a little. He went into this electronic store, and they
Yeah, he could fast forward life and pause it.
That's- yeah.
And so similar, this golden token kind of does that with him. He actually can go travel in time to learn his answers. He's a knucklehead. He's always in some type of little mischievous trouble, never lawful, but he's the kind of kid that you just fall in love with. And I wrote it specifically for young males to become addicted to reading.
That's
Because I
great.
grew up with a reading comprehension deficit.
Dang.
I grew
That's
up with a learning disability as well. I talk about it on the air sometimes because I'll be on the air and heaven forbid I say something wrong, and they're like, oh, yeah, and I'm like,
Dyslexia kicking in.
well, yeah, it happened a couple of weeks ago, and I put my producer Leslie on the spot. I'm like, oh, word, you gonna make fun of my dyslexia live on the air?
Live.
But I'm glad you're okay talking about it because I feel like talking about it, and the reason I bring it up, now more than ever than I used to, was because, I want to make people know that, hey, it's not just you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a job doing radio and working in the media industry, and I have, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I'd like to think that my dyslexia is like my asthma. I kind of outgrew it. But every once in a while, I feel a little wheeze coming on, with my asthma. And same thing with it. I notice sometimes like, oh, yeah, that's my dyslexia kicking in.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I had asthma too growing up, big time, man. I outran it.
Wow.
I was on my, I was fighting, man. I was like pretty much on my deathbed at 13 years old. And part of that is because my dad smoked heavily in the house.
Same, my mom smoked.
Yeah.
So the secondhand smoke and what?
It triggered asthma so bad, man.
Wow.
And my father, he used to drink and smoke all the time.
Right.
He went through a dark time. He was he had retired from the Air Force, and he went through his thing. And so growing up, man, when I was hospitalized with the asthma attack, I'm blowing through a peak flow. I don't know, you remember those little things you had to blow through?
I never had it that bad, but I knew what it was as I got older.
Yeah.
Ironically, it was after I outgrew asthma because my kids ended up having it.
Oh, wow.
Yep. But go, yeah.
Oh, I'm blowing through the peak flow, and it's going not even a centimeter. So I'm in the hospital fighting for my life, much less what would I ever accomplish. And the doctors had told my dad, said, hey, sir, Mr. Jennings, you got to stop smoking around your son. It's triggering his asthma. So we come out the hospital. I had to then, my mom would start calling certain restaurants, checking ventilations. Like, I had to be conscious of everywhere I was at. And my dad started smoking outside. About a week later, he trickled back in the house. Right, so it's one particular day. I'm 13. This overweight, chubby kid, glasses, asthma.
Yeah,
right?
when you told me I guess it was a few weeks ago, you brought up something about being overweight, and I was thinking to myself, you were overweight?
Yeah, man, overweight.
That awkward stage as a kid sometimes. Well,
Weirdo.
How overweight were you?
Dude, I was 275.
Damn. Wow.
Listen,
okay.
Yeah,
And now you're
I just thought it was at a chubby phase. Pause.
Like
now how much you're
like 235. Stay around there.
And now it's more. It's obviously the muscle outweighs the fat, so that there's that.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Right.
It took a long time, but I figured it out, man. And man, it's 275. I was a fifth string running back in high school. I had a .6 GPA. Like, it was a lot of things that just adds up to equal. He is not going to accomplish the things that I'm doing now or have done. But yeah, man, when I was in the hospital, when I got out, my dad
Pops trickled back in smoking,
and I could smell the smoke seeping through the vent because I was in my room downstairs at the time. And I put a pillow over my face. And me and my dad don't have a great relationship. Like, he's just there. He exists.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
we can relate a little bit.
Yeah. And so I go upstairs, I knock on the door, and he doesn't answer. I open the door, and he's sitting in the corner in his chair like he always does, drinking and smoking. And I look at him. I say, hey, Dad, can you stop drinking and smoking and be there for me? And he took a puff of his smoke, took a sip of his drink. He looked at me. He said, Rashad, what you want to do when you get older? Now, mind you, this is the first time he ever asked me that.
Right.
So part of me is excited.
Right.
I get to talk to my dad about something. And the other half, I could see on his face, he's just being arrogant. And so I take my chance, with a big, bright smile, look at him and say, Dad, I want to play running back in the NFL. He took a puff of his smoke, sip of his drink. He said, do you think you'll be able to make it to the league without drinking and smoking your damn self? Basically, like, who are you to tell me what to do in my house? And
You're probably going to end up drinking and smoking too.
Right, exactly. And with tears in my eyes, I looked at him. I said, just to prove you wrong, I'm never going to do it. And I'm 34. I've never drank alcohol a day in my life. I've never smoked. And it literally was just to prove him wrong.
It's true. Every time we go out, you never drink.
Yeah, man. Nah, I'm not.
We over here getting lit, and Rashad's just sat over there smiling. Hey, what's up, yo?
Hey, what up, baby?
That's so commendable, though, because that's one of those what ifs in life where you could have took that and said, gone a totally different direction, but yet you use that to motivate you to be where you're at and accomplish what you have accomplished, man. I commend that tremendously.
Appreciate
that's
man.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Appreciate
amazing.
that. And him watching his little knucklehead kid prove him wrong, he ended up quitting drinking and smoking.
Oh,
later.
wow.
So it kind of like we feel like we saved each other's life almost. With
And how are you guys now?
Oh, great.
Oh,
That's
good.
great.
See, that's the same with me and Pops.
Yeah.
Me and Pops didn't have the greatest relationship. Well, at one point we didn't have any relationship. And then, I mean, you hear me talk about it on the text thread that we're on with the homies. Like, my dad just told me this about Clemson or blah blah blah. You know, I gotta.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and it's funny how sometimes it's some things that the parents don't do or don't say that make a change in us, or the things that we see that's a negative thing with our parents that make us say, I'm never going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to do that.
Right.
So that, yeah, man, props to you, because that's
So that at that point you're 13 years old, 275 pounds. What do you
big old 13-year-old kid.
So what's
Whoa.
what
By the
was-
way, he was only 4'4".
Shut up! I was about to say you had to have some
Hey,
size
man,
on you.
I'm 4'4" this way, 4'4" that way.
So how did you? Was it right after that day you were like motivated to be like, all right, I got to do this? You know what I mean? Like how did that?
Yeah, that was in part it, man. It's like 2 or 3 big major turning points, and that definitely was one of them that completely motivated me with a chip on my shoulder. Luckily, I had 2 older brothers. They're 10 and 14 years older than me.
Okay.
I was the whoops.
Yeah, like
Here we go again. I ain't think you could get pregnant no more, but
Okay.
And so luckily I had 2 older brothers that could kind of help me channel my anger, because it could have went in a different.
Because they may have
direction,
already
you know what
kind
I
of
mean?
experienced some of these things with
Yeah.
Pops, and knowing like, yeah,
Right.
I see.
Right, knowing what young little brother going through, let's help him. And so from that aggression truly like made me bullheaded, head down. I'm going to prove you wrong. And just being a butthole of wanting to prove somebody wrong kept me away from so much trouble. So I'm appreciative of it, obviously, as you get older.
Yeah.
Being stubborn with that one.
And then how did you overcome? Because you had touched on the learning disability. Like your grades weren't that good. You know, like how did you turn a corner? Now you're a New York best-selling author. So like how did that become?
Man,
Turn that around.
I'm glad you asked. So listen, this is a true story. I'm gonna tell y'all real quick. My junior year. Right, when I tell y'all 5th string running back, I never played. I'm gonna paint the picture. Literally, I never played.
This is in high school, junior high school. Okay.
But
Yes,
you were
sir.
on the team.
On the team,
And
on the
that
bench.
might even be worse than not being on the team.
Right. At least I could say, hey, I could.
And the reason I speak from experience, because there was a time, not with football, I actually played, and I was a pretty decent wide receiver. But in basketball,
Stop lying.
yeah, definitely was amazing wide receiver. But basketball, I rode the bench a lot.
That's not hard to believe
A lot.
at all.
Hey, I played ball with him. I believe it.
hilarious. But I remember thinking like I wish I wasn't on the team, because at least
It's
I'm
funny.
just saying.
I have a similar story, total opposite of that. I played in all 3 sports: baseball, basketball, and football, and I started in all 3. So go ahead, Phil. What were you saying?
All right, good story. Great story. So
You were riding the bench.
go fuck yourself. So we can just stop there. I just wanted to say that so I know that was painful.
Yeah.
Not playing, sitting on the bench, you're overweight, you're 13, you got to prove Pops wrong. Your grades, you're struggling, you have a learning disability that I'm sure at that point you were starting to discover that you had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And so even this is 2 years later, because I'm a junior, right?
Yep.
Junior in
So
high
you're
school.
like 15, 16.
Yeah, and it's our last game of the season. We're playing against our high school rival. I play ball at the Jefferson Forest Cavaliers. We're playing against the Brookville Bees.
Okay.
If they win, they're going to the playoffs. We don't have a chance, right? So we're like, we gonna whoop them at least to knock them out. This last
Spoiler.
game.
And again, this is at a
Right.
time where you weren't really playing.
Yeah, I was 5th string. I never played one
As a
snap.
as
Is
a
it Virginia?
junior.
Special
Is this in
teams,
Virginia?
nothing. Virginia.
Yeah.
This may be a first. I want to look this up. I don't know that there's many players that went on to play in the NFL that didn't play as a junior in high school,
Yeah.
with an exception of some of the walk-ons
Right.
that never played high school ball at all, which is, I'm sure, very, very few.
Very few.
Yeah, very few.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy. So go ahead.
So we're playing against Brookville Bees. There's a Tennessee scout to come watch our starting running back. He was pretty good. His name was Quincy Freeman. And so, we do the traditional thing. We run out as our home game. We break the white tape, we come on the sideline, do the coin toss, boom, we get the ball first. So when I say I never played, I really mean that. So the thigh pads and the knee pads, I used to take them out, and I used to stuff in M&Ms, Skittles, Sprites. Like, this is part of the reason why I was 270.
And you're still how much do you weigh at that point?
I'm around the 270 range.
And that's why you're fifth string running back. Goddamn.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, you should have been a linebacker.
It's like, that sounds like a fullback or a linebacker.
And then I had a homeboy. His name was Speedy.
Okay.
Right, he played D-line. He was everything the opposite of the word speed. But so we call him Speedy. That's the guy. So we were set on the sideline. We felt like we just got front row tickets to watch the game. The first string running back goes out. Very first play, he gets hurt. Speedy is like my Ant-Man. Like, he just loves to be happy for people. So he sees the first string get hurt. He's crunk. He's like, hey, man, they going to play you today. They might play you today.
Only 3 more.
Right. Like, man,
deep down inside, he's like, this motherfucker ain't playing.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, Speedy, get off me, man.
Yeah.
I go back, eat my peanuts, watching the game. Second string goes out. He gets hurt. Speedy's like, hey, you going to play, man. You better get ready. I'm like, man, dude, they ain't going to play me. Third string goes out. He gets hurt.
Jeez.
They retaped the ankle of the first string running back because he had messed up his ankle, tried to give him a chance. He couldn't perform, so they had to put in the fourth string running back.
Okay.
He goes out. 3 plays later,
You tripped him and he broke his knee.
It's like he tripped on an M&M on the way out.
I don't know how I made it in.
I got an M&M in my eye.
Hey, that's a good one.
So you end up playing.
I end up playing after they put
Wait, hold on. How did it feel when Coach turned to you and said, Jennings?
You're up.
So what makes it worse is after the fourth string got hurt, they put in a wide receiver and stuff. Because he looked at the sideline and he saw me. He was like, nah.
He's 275.
Receiver, go in.
Damn.
The receiver gets hurt.
Oh.
So they literally had no choice.
Yo, what was going on with this team that every running back is getting hurt?
Bro,
turns out somebody was shooting them from the stands. Golly. Good Lord. How there was something happening. There was something more powerful happening
There was
that
a
day.
mean right tackle or something.
So you got a scout watching, and you're in.
Finally get in.
Wait, hold on. I want to hear how you felt. How did it feel when you that moment you were like, did you react like, what, me?
Dude, I was nervous. Like, because I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm fifth string. I know I'm not going to get in. It's like the third string backup quarterback in the league where he just caking his money.
Right. You might not dress out all the way because there's no way. I don't need to put on this.
Right. Yeah. And it happens. They got to play. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But I'm happy, nervous, scared.
Did you know the plays?
I knew the play.
Okay, that's the thing.
You
were ready.
You
were prepared.
I always was prepared. I just never had my shot, right? 275, never had a shot.
Right.
I go out there. Now, first of all, I don't know where my helmet is. I grab a random helmet. You know what I mean? I buckle it up. I go in there. I take the mouthpiece out because it ain't mine. I'm in there with no mouthpiece, red hands, red pants from the M&M. My teammates look at me.
Please don't tell me you had white pants.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
So it looked bad.
Oh,
man.
Rashad's bleeding. It's like, no,
I didn't even play yet. I still had the now laters in my kneecap.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I'm in the huddle, and the teammates look at me and like, yo, Rashad, what the hell? What you doing in here? I said, hey, man.
They're like, who are you?
we ain't got nobody else, baby. Let's go. So he called a play. Very first play. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm every single thing. We playing against our rivals.
Especially
a big game.
you just saw like 5 people get hurt. This is you're up.
Yeah. And I get the ball. Very first play, make 2 people miss. Score a 30-yard touchdown.
Ooh.
Right.
Wow.
So I throw the ball in the stands. I get a excessive celebration flag. Like, I go back and chest bump Speedy. He falls to the ground. It's a whole entire moment. And, you can't tell me nothing at that time.
Yeah.
1 play, 1 touchdown. So then they put out the second string back in there. About another 2-3 series later, they put me back and scored another touchdown. Fast forward, same situation on defense. Guys was getting hurt left and right. They threw me in on defense. First time I'm in on defense, I sacked the quarterback. He fumbles. I pick it up, score a 40-yard touchdown. It's 3 touchdowns. And in the game, it's 24-21 them.
Okay.
1 minute left. All they got to do is run the clock out. Mm-hmm. Ray run the ball on first down. We tackle him, timeout. Second down, tackle him, timeout. Third down, for whatever reason, they got cute. And they decided to throw a screenplay. I'm on the side where the screen was. I sift it out. Quarterback throws the ball. I intercept it. I score the last winning touchdown. Walk off. We win.
Oh, my
right?
gosh.
So I score 4 touchdowns, 2 on offense, 2 on defense within 14 plays. That Tennessee scout came to me after the game. It was like, hey, Rashad, I came to watch the starter, but I couldn't help but to notice you.
I couldn't help but notice you scored every touchdown.
Wow.
But your name wasn't even on the roster. He said, Rashad, how are your grades?
Uh-huh.
And I said, sir, I have a 0.6.
Damn.
He said, damn, you got to try to do that. And he said, seriously, son, you have potential. Get your grades right. And for the first time in my life, that was somebody outside of anybody that's just always going to just fill me up with good stuff.
Right.
Saw something in me. And my 2 older brothers happened to be at that game. They were just coming to be there to show love. They knew I wasn't going to play in their mind.
Right.
Well, and they probably played for that same school when they were coming up, so it was like they're supporting.
Right. They're supporting everybody, right? And so they decided to go to a private school and coach at a private school for free to pay half of my tuition to transfer. Damn. My parents took a mortgage against the home to pay the other half of the tuition. I transferred. I repeated my junior year, plus taking 9 homeschool classes, 9 summer school classes on top of the regular academics. I stopped making excuses. I stopped blaming people. I started
stop eating M&Ms.
I changed the way I was eating completely, man. And
you had to, like Dwight Howard, he had the candy bar habit. You had to kick it.
I had to kick that thing. I had to completely kick it.
Wow, that is crazy. I mean, but you were ready. That's the thing. You were like, and you had that motivation. You had that in you already. Yeah. You just needed somebody, and that's all it takes sometimes is somebody to see something in you, like, yo, you got potential aside from your parents.
You hear a mom or a brother say, oh, you could do that. But when you hear a scout that's like, if you could do this, you're like, wait a minute, this guy is from this side. Right. He's telling me if I can do this, I can be over here with these guys. Right. That had to have been, moving.
He's certified to say, you know what I mean? That's the voice I need to hear from. Yeah. And that's why for me, man, I always say there's nothing special about me. It's the position I find myself in. And I know my voice to so many kids are motivating and can be. And so just like that scout, because they see me in a position. And so that's why I do so many school visits. That's why I'm always doing motivational speaking stuff. Because you never know. You never know if you're being a seed in somebody's life, watering that seed that somebody already planted, or whatever have it be. So that's one of the reasons.
So wait, hold on. I want to continue this. So you ended up going to the school that your brothers were coaching at.
Yeah.
And then tell the story from there. Like how was your progression as a player?
Yeah. So when I transferred to the private school. This private school was 1 in 10 before I got there.
Oh.
Like, it was, nobody even knew where it was at. Like, it's a very small school, man.
And wait, hold on. I actually do have a question before we move forward.
Yeah.
Was scoring 4 touchdowns? 4, yeah. In one game is obviously no easy feat. Mm-hmm. Do you think there was, obviously you were talented. Were your coaches... Did they not see this talent? Was it the first day that it actually came to life? Was it because you finally got a chance to have the ball? Like, did you never excel like this in practice where they were like, this guy right here?
Yeah. Nah, they knew I could play.
Okay.
So I was a guy, because I knew I never played, right? I was a guy that used to I was a pretty guy in practice. Like, I was spat up and I took practice as my games because I knew I wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
And I didn't help myself. Because I was a little arrogant to the coaches too, so that didn't help.
All right,
it didn't want to play me.
Right.
Yeah, I had a bad attitude with it.
They were like, "Damn, we got to play him, and he's gonna win the game for us."
And he ain't gonna shut up about
it. Yeah. He's gonna go on to play for the NFL, and no thanks to us.
No doubt.
But like what you were saying, though, is so true. Is what you never know who's listening.
Yeah.
Like what kid is honed in on your every word, because I coached my daughter's softball team, and I've had such a joy because all these kids, it don't matter if they're the best player or the not so good player, they look to you to motivate them and give them confidence, and that's what it's all about, having fun, giving them confidence. But for you to take that and continue with it, that's commendable, and that's great. That's great.
It's amazing.
Appreciate
so you your college career, How'd that play out? How did that transition into and how did that play into the NFL? The whole, the whole nine.
So when I was at Lynchburg Christian Academy, a very small private school, I ended up working my way to earn a full scholarship, and I went to Pittsburgh University. Started off there, ended up starting as a true freshman. Balled out, had a blast. Loved everything about it. Despite the 0.6 and failing every English class I ever. So check this out. This is just, sorry, I gotta say this. I failed every English class I ever had in high school. I passed every Spanish class I ever had.
Wow.
I can't speak a full sentence of Spanish, but I passed it and failed every English class, and then went to college and won Freshman Writer of the Year award. Something's up with school.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things is English
sense.
is 10 times harder than Spanish. So even though you grew up always hearing English and knowing it from hearing it verbally, Spanish is actually a very simple language to learn. From a career.
Okay.
From a learning standpoint, I guess you could say. Because think about it, like one word in English means 5 different things and can be used 5 different ways.
True.
But in Spanish, most of the time, that one word just means that. And that's it. Anyway.
But yeah, like you said, like you go through all the education system, and it seems like you just were failed. Like the education system failed you. They didn't recognize what you probably needed, and it's amazing how you go to college and you're all of a sudden like, okay, you're doing better than,
because you get to express yourself differently. I got
true.
time to tell you a funny quick story about education.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
This is how I had a 0.6. This is to give some light to
Okay.
it. In my 9th grade year, we had to write a essay paper about one of our heroes. And you had to put it in CLA format, cite all your sources, etc. And I decided to write about Dr. Martin Luther King. And so I had to go to the library and find some people that said some things about him that I agreed with so I can quote them and talk about their quotes. So I'm in the library and I couldn't find anybody that said what I wanted to say. So after about 20, 30 minutes, I said, forget it. I got the bright idea to quote myself. So, I wrote my quote, end quote, Rashad Jennings. And then I expressed my thoughts on what I just said.
Very smart.
And then I put my source was Rashad Jennings' mind. Turn it in, right? This is high school. I turned it in. I'm excited about my work.
You're like, hey, I triple check my work.
Yeah.
I just checked my source. That's me.
Yeah. Trust me, my source
checks out.
is credible.
It's incredible. So I turn it in. I get my grade back. I get a big fat F plus, actually. And so I go up to the teacher, Miss Salmon, right afterwards, and I said, hey, why'd I get an F? Very confused. Why'd I get an F? She said, Rashad, you quoted yourself. And I said, right, but is what I said true? She said, yeah. I said, is what I mentioned relevant to the paper? She said, yes. So again, why'd I get an F? She said, what you said, because you're not a credible source. Right? So I asked her, I said, so you're telling me I got to go do something oddly amazing in this world just to be able to come back 20 years from now and say the same things, right? Because if it's true now, it's going to be true later.
Right.
She gave me a smile and said, Rashad, get out of here. And so fast forward, I get drafted, do a lot of public speaking. And there was this one teacher in Jacksonville, Florida, that teaches high school. She asked me to come speak to the kids because they were doing a research paper on professional athletes. And I said, sure. I go in. I'm speaking to the class. They're writing down things I'm saying and quote.
Wow.
They turn it in. They get A's. So I asked for every single A paper. They got a quote Rashad Jennings on it as a copy because I went right back to that high school when I came back in town and slapped it right on the
Oh, my
desk.
God.
So she was still there.
Yeah, she was still there.
That's-
She's still there. And she said, Rashad, I knew you was going to do something amazing one day.
Yeah, right, Miss Solomon. Get out of here.
I knew you always weren't going to be fifth string.
That's a great story, man.
But it's like that's why I had a point. I thought I was smarter than school. I really did. And it took until somebody actually showed me the game of school.
Right.
And playing the game. I was like, oh, all right, I'll do that. And so that's really what helped me a lot.
What was your turning point? Because we have a ton of things we could talk about, and there hopefully we do part 2 of this. in the future. But I do want you to talk a little bit about how it was to go from college. How did that transpire from college into the NFL?
Yeah, so in college, when I transferred from Pittsburgh University to Liberty University because my dad had to get his leg amputated. And, Pittsburgh University is 6 hours away from home, where I'm from, Lynchburg/Forest, Virginia.
Yeah.
And Liberty is 10, 15 minutes from my house. So I transferred to Liberty to be there, help out mom around the house, be there for pops and stuff, and played there 3 years. 3 years go by, I get an opportunity to play at the next level. I go to the Combine. I did everything I could. I went to the Senior Bowl. I was a leading rusher of the Senior Bowl. Did everything I possibly could. Got drafted, 7th round, Jacksonville Jaguars in 2009. Played there for 4 years. Then I went to the Oakland Raiders, played there for 1. And then I played with the New York Giants for 3. And then from there, I was able to do some fun stuff, actually.
Too bad I know it hurts you that you never played for the Cowboys. But,
oh, trust me, listen. I can tell you
it's going to be okay. You did a lot of big things.
Nobody wanted to play
in
for
NFL.
the what was it, 96? 25 years, nobody wanted to play for the Cowboys, man. It's been a long time, man. Come on. Even with the Cowboys.
Hey, we're still number one, and he hears me say it almost every day. We're still number one in the NFC East. So.
Okay, going back to the Giants, because with the Giants, there was a couple injuries as well, right? That you had to step in, and it's almost like, because hearing the story from high school, it kind of reminded, as a Giants fan, I remember I always watched you with the Raiders as well, and just I liked how you ran. But when wasn't with the Giants as well, you had to kind of wait your turn a little bit to where you stepped in. Because I'm trying to figure out, was it Ahmad Bradshaw?
It was. So when I was when I was with the Raiders, I remember that was it was a 1-year deal with the Raiders, kind of like a prove yourself,
right?
And they brought in Latavius Murray. They drafted him the same year I came in, and you had Darren McFadden as the starter, and so I went out there and was backing up Darren, and he got hurt like the 8th game. And I was out there. I was playing special teams, doing everything.
Right.
I had like 4 or 5 block punts that year. I was balling on special teams. And Darren got hurt, and I had my chance. Like, I never forget this. We was just talking about this with some of my boys the other day and my little nephew about being excited, like standing in your moment. So we're playing against Philadelphia. It was when Foles threw for like 6 touchdowns that game against the Raiders, against us at home. We're losing like 40-something to 7. Darren gets hurt. It's like towards the end of the game-ish, right? It's third quarter. Game pretty much out of reach at this point. They put me in. I'm in there balling. I'm talking about balling. We've lost the game. It's like 41-7, but I get up. I'm beating my chest, throwing first down signs, and people are like, yo, why is he so excited? Like, shut up.
Right.
But I didn't care, right, because I'm in my moment.
Absolutely.
And I ended up running for 100 yards on like 11 carries. And then the next day, we got to tell, but the next day watching film, coach was like, we need more people to play like this. Like, I ain't care about the scoreboard. I ain't care about nothing. I'm on the field. I got to go. And from there, like, I ended up getting MVP of the team that year, offensive player of the team that year. And when Darren came back, they never put him back in. And then that's when I went into free agency.
And you made a great situation for the Giants and the whole when you left the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we gave Cowboys their first loss at that new stadium.
Why you got to bring up old shit?
Yeah, I just thought you should know.
Eli signing in the locker room and all that. It's great.
So we own that. We own that
absolutely.
Stadium.
So let's end on that.
You have this amazing career and experiences in the NFL. How did it feel when it was time and you knew it was time for you to exit? How was that?
So that was actually, it's a really good feeling. And it's ironic how it all kind of fell into place for me, man. So one, I start off by saying every offseason I pick up a new art or craft. Like, I'm an autodidact. Despite the 0.6, I love learning. I'm truly addicted to learning. And so the first every offseason I train from like 8 a.m. to noon. Then I got the rest of the day off. So the first offseason I picked up a guitar. Just learn how to play. The next offseason, learn magic tricks. So I just know a boatload of magic tricks.
Can you make the Giants get into?
Man, you need to worry about the Cowboys before anything. Can you make Jason Garrett get a job?
Magic. Cowboys been doing magic. We're number one. Anyway, go ahead.
They've been doing voodoo.
Guitar, magic tricks.
Yeah, and then the next offseason I pick up chess. So I'm a real avid chess player. The next offseason I pick up.
So
archery.
is Cooper.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
That's dope.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Yep.
It's a great game. Truly is, man. And then the next offseason, fencing, Olympic style fencing, archery, poetry, a lot of different things. And then so my last offseason, I was sitting down at a friend's house and they had a barbecue, and I'm watching a commercial, and these people are moving across the screen just fluent. I was like, yo, what are they doing? A girl happened to know what they were doing. She said, oh, Rashad, that's a cha-cha. I said, what the heck is that? She said, oh, that's ballroom dancing. I said, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
And so I don't know anything about dance. I'm the random dude on the floor just moving.
Right.
And it looked great. I said, okay, I know what I'm going to do this offseason. I'm going to learn how to dance. So from 8 a.m. training to noon, I got out of the gym straight to it. I Googled the nearest ballroom studio to me. I went to it, opened the door, ding. People in there just holding each other, looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm in there with a tank top sweating. And I go up to the desk and I asked, she said, can I help you? Kind of like, you look out of place.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I'm trying to learn or figure out do you have the cha-cha here? Like, I don't even know how to ask.
Can I speak the cha-cha?
You know what I mean? Because I don't know what I'm doing. And she laughed and said, sir, we don't have any availability until 2 weeks from today. So come back in 2 weeks. I said, sure. From that moment, Dancing with the Stars, a week from then, Dancing with the Stars called. I went out there. I had an opportunity to do that. And that was during the same time as the off season. And, even if Lord allowed me to, I only would have played 1 to 2 more years just by choice.
Right.
And I saw an opportunity to start to transition into other endeavors.
Right.
And I didn't want to miss out on that opportunity. So I took it serious, and I decided to walk away from the game from there and get into all the other things I've desired to do forever.
So that's what I want to save that for part 2, because we got to do a part 2.
Yeah, for sure.
We got to do a part 2, and I know Vinny's just at the tip of the iceberg with questions that he's had.
I want to go ahead and read this book though. I'm like so intrigued now after talking to you, especially with this. So go ahead and plug the book again.
Yeah, and you can pick them up anywhere where books are sold. This is Arcade and the Golden Travel Guide. And I tell people this is a series, and if you're a teacher that wants this in your school, there's a curriculum already written, and I do school visits if it's inside of your school.
Nice.
I think it's dope.
What's
for
the
kids.
age you think a kid could pick up this book and start? What do you think? Like any age? Like
middle school and up.
Okay, middle school
and up. I wrote it specifically, and it's easier for me to get in touch with my 13-year-old self than it is my 34. And I wrote it again so kids will become addicted to reading.
And put it out there how they can contact you if somebody wants you to, if somebody needs Rashad Jennings for anything. How can they reach you on social or?
Yeah, I'm Rashad. You can go to RashadJennings.com. I'm at Rashad Jennings on every social media handle. Very super easy, just Rashad Jennings.
That's dope, by the way, that you got lucky getting the Rashad Jennings.
Oh, I did, man.
Man.
Big time.
Man.
Come in handy.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, man. It's amazing to hear the in-depth of what it took to get to where you're at today.
Appreciate y'all.
I'm glad.
Enjoy
to
your
hear
holiday, bro.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you after the holidays. We'll do part 2.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm pretty sure at that point he'll have another hobby that he learned. I learned how to.
We'll probably invite some Cowboys. They'll be doing nothing at that time too.
I'm a pilot. I'm about to fly to London with one propeller.
Let's get Jason Garrett on the show. He'll be doing absolutely nothing by that time.
Yeah, Cowboys might need a coach by next time we talk. So hey,
True.
Yeah, true.